Each one of us has some dream or some goal in life. The goals might be different. For you, it might be to make a lot of money, to support your family. For me, it might be to create something that the world has never seen before. Take an example. But the common fact is that all of us have some goals to achieve in life. And we might put a lot of hard work. We think we might have a lot of talent, that we are being very honest, and we'll be working our asses off to try to achieve that goal. Some of us achieve it, a lot of us don't achieve it, but the struggle is the same. No matter how much privilege you have, everyone has different kind of struggles in life. And sometimes when we find it really, really difficult on that journey to achieving that goal, we look outside for inspiration. We look at other people. For most people, when they achieve their goals, you might feel a little jealousy. But for some people, when you see them achieve their dream and their goal, I don't know what it is, it gives you some new kind of strength, some new kind of energy to achieve your own goals. And today, I just watched Karuppu, and after the show, with all those videos coming out, specifically one video that came out from the first show of Karuppu from Rohini Theatre was this. That is the director of Karuppu, who is RJ Balaji, and we'll talk about him later. But that victory feels personal. Honestly, I don't have any script in front of me. Usually when I talk about a movie or when I do a review video, I script everything out. But right now, I just want to talk about whatever is in my mind because I am just so happy for this one guy. It's not about how much money the movie is going to be making, how much he is going to be making. It's not about that. But we'll get to that story later. In the 90s and early 2000s, if you were growing up, there was one director who everyone looked up to. Everyone was absolutely fascinated with. Every movie of his was a banger. That one man, his name was Shankar. And every movie that he used to be making, it used to revolve around some kind of a social issue or something that's happening in the society and about how one hero, one underdog comes out of nowhere and fights all those social evils. Over time, that concept of an evil like corruption, for example, we got so used to it that we started looking at these movies with a sense of saying these concepts are outdated, no one wants to watch these movies anymore. During the same time, around the early 2000s, there were also few other directors like Hari, Dharani, Lingasamy. All of these directors as well used to make these hardcore masala action commercial movies which will have every element possible. It will have hero elevation scenes, it will have songs and dance, there'll be amma sentiment, sister sentiment, everything that you can imagine, but it will be packaged as a complete entertainer with a really strong story, with a really simple character who you can identify with. All of those movies used to work very, very well, but down the line, especially in the last maybe 10-15 years, we forgot to make those kinds of movies. And right now, if you think of making a big commercial hero film, everything revolves around the main character or the hero being either a cop or a gangster. There's not much other variety in the kind of characters, maybe a raw agent. And one of the main things missing from these modern commercial movies these days is conviction. So all of those legendary directors who used to make all those banger commercial movies back then are missing strong writing partners or writers, or their ideas are outdated. And the young commercial directors, they have grown up on world cinema. They are looking at Tarantino, Fincher, all of these people, which is not a wrong thing, but they are not able to correctly use a hero to make a proper commercial film. There is something or the other that goes missing, or maybe there's a lot of self-doubt. They doubt themselves. They feel that any new scene they try to write might come across as cringe for the audience, and in that process they make a mess out of most films. And in this case, even most of the actors, most of those big heroes, they don't know what to do. They just sign with the hottest new director available right now, thinking they'll make the biggest blockbusters, make 1,000 crore film or a pan-Indian film. But in the end, there is some imbalance that happens. The story is not served and neither is the hero's image. And we as an audience get hyped up a lot seeing a big actor and a big new director team up together. But the end result satisfies no one. And one among the big heroes who got lost in his way kind of was Surya, who was such a great performer in his early years. Right from the early 2000s to 2010, 2012. And in the last 13-15 years, he's been kind of struggling to get the right kind of script with the right kind of director. He's worked with big directors, new directors, everyone possible. But there is something that goes missing, and in the process of that, his fans who stood by him and stand by him with every new release thinking that this film is going to get our hero back, they get disappointed. And I personally know a lot of Surya fans who each time they hope and pray like, Achhe din, it will come someday. And with every film, they get disappointed. And then the journey just begins to hyping themselves up for the next film. But after a point, even they lost the energy. But finally, 2 years back in one of my videos, I was speaking about Surya's career and how he is. And I compared him to this sword from the Lord of the Rings franchise, which is called the Narsil sword. This was a sword that used to defeat any enemy. Anything that comes in its path would be destroyed. It would be an indestructible sword. But someday, for some reason, that sword got destroyed and broken into pieces. And we were all hoping that there would be one director, one man, one woman, whoever it is, would come back and bring all of these broken pieces of that sword together and bring back this hero, this performer that we used to know called Surya. But it's not happened for many, many years. But finally, after all these years, there is one director who everyone doubted. When RJ Balaji got this opportunity to direct Surya in his next film, because he has made only smaller budget films starring himself mostly before that, everyone doubted him. He's spoken in a lot of interviews that when he was just in some kind of a public place, there were a few assistant directors of another director who had come to him and asked him, how did you get this film? As if he doesn't deserve the opportunity. But he just heard all that with 1 year, and then he just worked and worked and worked. He got a bunch of his young writers together. They just put their heads down and just kept working. And I think they've delivered a true blue old school blockbuster after many, many years that many directors, many accomplished legendary directors have not been able to do in the last 5-10 years. I actually don't even want to talk anything about the movie. I just think you should go watch it on the biggest screen possible. You're going to enjoy. I think it has a lot of repeat value. We are going to be talking in depth about the movie along with Sudhi Srinivasan on Fully Filmy's channel. I'm going to head to that shoot in a few hours. But what I want to talk about here is this one man called RJ Balaji, and I have a personal connection to him. Let me try to make sense of it. 10 years back, August 15, 2016, we were opening our first Fully Filmy store at Phoenix Market City, and it was RJ Balaji who inaugurated that store. He was there for a couple of hours. He was even the judge for a competition that we held, and he was such a sport during the entire time. I'm not talking about all of this just because he opened our store. It's not just that. 1 or 2 years later, we went to meet him for some work at his radio station because he was also working as an RJ back then, even though he had become an actor and all of that. Me and my partner, my co-founder Anand. And while talking, he just said, you guys want to come on my show? Let's just do it. Within 5 minutes, spontaneously, he just, started his system, and then we recorded like a half an hour show where he covered the story about Fully Filmy, our journey so far and what we plan to do, all of that stuff. And it's not even just that I'm praising him or I feel that his victory is personal. Since the day that Karuppu was announced, with RJ Balaji going to be directing Surya, I just wanted this man to win. Because just imagine, just look at his journey. This guy has been everything. He has been a radio jockey, a cricket commentator, a presenter, an actor, a comedian, a filmmaker. And now he gets this opportunity to direct one of the biggest stars who is also looking for a hit. If it was any other director, either they would have very, very less time and they would not know what script to write and then make a mess in the end, or they would feel that we got such a big star on board, let's just use him in every single scene, just add slow motion, add some banger music, and then we're done. But this guy didn't take this role for granted. And you will know when you're watching the movie, you can clearly see that he and his team worked their asses off to make this movie. Even though it's a commercial movie, it's such a well-written, well-conceived movie. It takes the world of Shankar and combines God, spirituality, a lot of things, and creates this new kind of old school movie that just works. Even though the second half might feel convenient as compared to the first half, even though there is a strong reference to a very, very big pan-Indian film that came out, and there will be a lot of comparisons to that, especially the climax scene. And the best part about this guy is his work ethic, his energy towards every single thing that he does. No matter how big or how small the role is, whether it's doing a Surya movie or doing an interview with us or opening a store or doing commentary for an IPL match, every single thing he just brings his A game. He brings his 200% passion and energy and heart into it. And that's why I didn't have any other expectations from this movie other than it being a victory for this guy. I didn't care whether the film is going to be good or bad. I just wanted to see that his effort has translated on screen, and with this film, it has. And when you see such a guy who started from almost nowhere, when you see someone like him win like this, that victory feels personal. And for some reason now I'm so much more energized to do whatever work is going to come my way, to bring whatever energy that's within me, beyond me, into my work. And I think a lot of other people will also relate to that, because even though this film has seen every kind of problem possible, it's seen so many financial delays, production issues, all of that, the film was supposed to release on May 14th. And on May 14th, it was announced that the shows are going to be cancelled. And all the fans who were waiting to watch the movie, who had traveled from different cities to come to Chennai to watch the first day, first show, they were calling out the producer, the hero, everyone involved. But every single fan stood behind this one guy and supported him because of all the work that he's done. And not just the work that he's done, all the honest work that he's done with his 100% heart. Every time the film's release date got pushed and there were no updates, this is one guy who took accountability, who came in front of a phone camera and just spoke to the fans like he would speak to a friend and saying that just wait for a little longer. This film is stuck for this reason, this film is stuck for that reason, and we are working hard to bring the film to you as soon as possible. And even yesterday, when no one else took responsibility, this guy again, he came in front of the phone camera and with tears in his eyes, and you know those are not fake tears, he was speaking to us saying that he never expected this, and he apologized to every single fan that there's no other choice but to wait. And finally, after all of these years of hard work, that first day, first show happens, the first show gets over, and you see this reaction. With any other personality, it wouldn't hit this hard. But with this guy, once again, this victory feels personal. And I know that I'm supposed to speak about a film with absolutely no bias, to have an objective view, but I'm really sorry. Whenever someone calls me a film critic or a film reviewer or anything on Twitter, I correct them every single time saying that I don't think I'm qualified for that. I'm just a fan who really likes movies and who likes talking about movies, and I can't help but get emotional about certain movies like this, which would cloud my judgment, which would stop me from pointing out the flaws or what is the positives and the negatives of a film. But I'm sorry, that's just me. I don't know if this video related to you. I hope it does. But the basic thing is, go watch Karuppu on the big screen. Support RJ Balaji, not because he's a celebrity or anything like that. He's just one of us who's just worked very, very hard, and he's an inspiration to all of us. And with more projects of his, I hope his honesty, his integrity, his passion never dies out, so that we can also be continued to be inspired and try to achieve whatever dreams we have in our own lives. And to Surya specifically, the actor, you know what you're doing. I'm no one to advise you or anything like that, but as a request from a person who loves your films, who's loved your performances in the past, I know it's very, very hard to judge a new director or a new talent, but please work with more people like RJ Balaji, who have that passion, who have that talent, who are willing to put in the hard work, and try to avoid working with people who maybe bring you down. That's all I can say. Go watch Karuppu on the big screen. You're going to have a blast.